Hello and welcome. My name is Sanjay Soni. Here is a microlearning readiness video about Azure SQL Data Warehouse. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Now, let's get started. Hi, Stephen. How are you doing today?
Very good, Sanjay. Thanks. Nice to see you.
Awesome. So what do you do at Microsoft?
Yeah, great question. So I'm actually quite new to Corp, but I'm fulfilling a role at the moment as the data and AI complete lead as a technical product manager.
Great, let's get started. So for customers, it's important to know that a solution is being used in the real world as well. So can you please tell us more about Azure SQL Data Warehouse customers or references?
Yeah, so I'm super excited to be talking about customers. I think for the field, it's key to make sure we know what customers are using these products. So as you can see from this first slide, several of our customers span across multiple different industries, and that's important in terms of that industry view. But they've been successfully migrating to SQL Data Warehouse and taking advantage of the benefits that the platform affords them. But by the way, all these case studies can be accessed directly from the recently updated SQL DW page on azure.com, so they're easily accessible.
Awesome, that's great. Could you please pick a few of these customers to further elaborate on their use cases and how they are leveraging Azure SQL Data Warehouse?
Sure, so our first story that I've chosen is Anheuser-Busch, which is a global brewer and obviously a very recognizable brand.
Of course.
Name. So they have over 500 brands and with operations in over 50 countries, which spans across six continents. So they're a rather large operation. Many of those brands were obtained through acquisition or also given the magnitude of their operational footprint. You can imagine they've got multiple data silos across the globe. And this makes reporting and analysis extremely cumbersome for them.
Of course.
Additionally, they were using an on-premise legacy appliance that was slow and on investigation proved way too expensive to renew. So that was a key consideration around looking for an alternative solution. So they embarked on a modernization drive, and that resulted in building an analytics platform using Azure SQL Data Warehouse. And this decision was one of the major factors making the desire of a worldwide analytics and innovation possible, as it brought all those different data silos from multiple different departments together, and then in turn optimize their processes, which to decrease the reporting time. And reducing that reporting time meant that they could transform how they do business by changing how they interact with their suppliers, for example. They also said that the SQL Data Warehouse architecture performed significantly better than what they had in terms of their legacy on-premise solution that it replaced, and now gives them a single source of truth for all of their company's data. The elasticity of SQL Data Warehouse was also allows them to scale the instance up or down on demand, which means they only pay for the resources when they're in use. And this obviously also lowers their operational costs, which was key.
I see. What you're saying is, so when they're not using the system, they can pause or they can increase, elastically scale up or down.
Exactly, and that's a key differentiator. So it's not just a case of those relationships, but in terms with Microsoft, in terms of being able to have a good roadmap or a good way to implement a solution like this, but obviously also some of those product benefits as well. So as you can see from the schematic that's on the screen now, they've gone to expand the Azure environment to include tools for data science, for example. So it's beyond Data Warehouse, but leveraging Data Warehouse as their base platform. And this is obviously allowing them to benefit the predictive analytic capabilities as well. So there's a link, as I said, on the AECOM webpage, specifically for SQL Data Warehouse, where you can get further information on this specific case study. And also you can go and search on YouTube, for example, for the Ignite 2018 keynote recording,
yes,
where ABR's IT director spoke his thoughts about implementing the solution. It's well worth watching in terms of the comments he had to say for how this benefited their business.
Thanks for sharing that story, Stephen. Now, do you have any other customer example for the retail scenario?
Yeah, sure. So our second success story revolves around a company called Farshop. Farshop's a Brazilian electronic retailer who have leveraged the power of SQL Data Warehouse and Power BI to conduct pricing analysis. The story here is that they had a bricks and mortar retailer, or they are rather a bricks and mortar retailer, but they have got a unique differentiator, which is that they negotiate the product pricing with their customers on the shop floor, as opposed to having a fixed price. Now previously, pricing was set manually, but with over 5,000 products for sale, it was absolutely impossible to make decisions about all of them. So what they did was their managers would just create the base price for each of their high-selling items, and then they'd let the store employees determine the price for the rest of the items. This process worked well when sales were booming, but they stated since the economic downturn in Brazil about 2015 or so, they felt the pinch. So they felt the need to revise this model over the last few years to try and stay more competitive. And they really needed to develop a more robust pricing mechanism to try and increase their profit margins across all those 5,000 plus products. Fastshop was already using an on-premise BI solution actually, but it took a long time to build reports, and there were way too many data silos in the company, and they couldn't go on handing out spreadsheets, for example, to all of their store sellers. And they were concerned about those sellers offering prices below cost. So using Azure SQL Data Warehouse, they were able to achieve their goal of determining pricing based on several factors, and this was able to cut their losses.
I see.
So obviously in terms of making sure they delivered on that their pricing consideration, or profit rather consideration. They were also able to provide their store managers with a Power BI dashboard to run sensitivity analysis of pricing using different parameters, which obviously meant the price was always up to date. So again, that was a key advantage of having such a dynamic and agile solution. So overall, as you can see from these two cases that I've given, there's other success stories as well, which we showed in those first slides, and as I say, can be referenced on the website. Customers have greatly benefited from using SQL Data Warehouse. It's also great to see how they've derived additional benefits by using SQL Data Warehouse initially, and then building additional capability on top of that, such as the machine learning component.
Wow, that was great information. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
Thank you for watching this video. Learn more about this and other topics at azure.com/SQLDW.